Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern to talk about one of our frequently perused topics, Apple and MacBooks. So although I know that you're sort of in the Dell camp at the moment, I think, Steve, just as something different, but you do have the Macs at home, of course.
Oh, well, I'm broadcasting off a MacBook 2011 at the moment, but I use a Dell notebook at work. I quite like it.
I mean, it's all much of a muchness now. They the quality of a lot of these things are all fairly comparable. In light of the event that's coming up, WWDC shortly, Apple's conference where they announced the latest updates to iOS, macOS, etc. Presumably with some hardware, because I haven't had any hardware announcements this year. I just wanted to touch on the 2016 MacBook Pro and some of the responses to it, and I want to just sort of take it from a different direction this time, because I was doing some things on my old iMac, which is now officially over 9 years old. So, I'm still getting functionality out of it, but it is starting to chug along. I was, the first was that I couldn't video edit anymore in any real great capacity on it, and now I was trying to manage the photo library I've got on it, and it was just chugging along a bit too slowly for my liking. And I could tell that with a computer that's taking up that much desk space in my room there, that I should have something a bit more powerful there to sort of make it a bit more useful than just a web browser and a Office document generator. So I went back to thinking, well, okay, what's the replacement going to be? And I think I might have mentioned on a previous episode that I'll probably go with a MacBook with a 4 or 5K screen, and just go with the one Mac this time rather than the two. But then I was having a bit of a read about these new MacBooks, and apart from I'm fine with the dongle situation. That's just part of what it is. But I was looking at the 15. Yeah, but I was looking at the. I guess what I'm saying is that it can be messy looking and that, but it's not the absolute deal breaker that I think everyone says it is, at least for me. But the thing that I was concerned about is that I was looking at getting the 15-inch for the power, so I've got the power covered. And I've been reading all these reports that this thing actually crashes a lot because of some issues to do with the graphics card, the dedicated graphics card that's in it. And I've also heard that you get varying battery life as well, based on wildly varying battery life based on what function you're doing, and it doesn't make any sense either. You could be airplaying a movie to a big screen and it only goes down 10%, or you could be just using Chrome and it chops it down 60% in battery in half an hour or something. And these wild inconsistencies on that, and usually with this sort of thing, it's one or two people that might complain, and that's all it is, typically with Macs. But it seems like it's actually a significant problem, maybe not for everyone, not everyone experiences it, but there's enough of a percentage of people bringing these things back to the Apple store saying what the hell's wrong with this thing, that it makes me wonder, maybe I'll just keep my my current MacBook that I've got for a little while longer, just to see if they come up with something else. I find this sort of thing extraordinary that Apple would be in this position. And I don't know if you've picked up, Steve, they seem to have they keep saying that they've got a focus on the Mac, but I don't know if it really is there.
Well, they've been saying it, but let's face it, no one's seen any evidence of it in probably the last 3 or 4 years. The tower, I don't know, what is it, the donut or trash can or whatever it's called, hasn't been updated in 3 years. The MacBooks themselves have been pretty standard, apart from the little scroll bar. There's not been much change there. So you'd have to say that maybe they haven't focused on their mobile computing as much as they have the tablets and phones, and perhaps it's now coming back to bite them.
Well, I can understand that because of iPads and iPhones, obviously, well, iPhones in particular generate, the majority of their revenue, so that would be a focus. But the thing is that they haven't really brought those devices up to a point where they could replace a Mac, for instance, for some things. And
No.
and I think it leaves them exposed in a way that they may not have had, may not have been in the past. In that, if they stop serving certain customers of theirs that have been attached to their products for such a long time, they might end up with a bit of trouble. I mean, not that I expect them to be in trouble, because they're going to be making lots and lots of money for years to come. But it's more a perception, how they're viewed going forward. What are they there for? Who are they doing it for? Why are these devices not as good as what they used to be?
Well, things change very quickly. And, Apple could end up just being a phone manufacturer. You can talk, Steve Jobs, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, was coining the post-PC era. And maybe in that sort of post-PC era, they just saw tablets and phones, but it would be really easy to end up as a phone company. That doesn't mean what we would call phones, but, other people would call devices. So maybe they don't see the laptop or the desktop as important anymore. I mean, we've seen Windows just release the current Surface range, which, if nothing else, certainly has to be the most overpriced computing module in I don't know how long. However, having said that, I think in a lot of regards, its power, functionality and features leave probably anything that Apple does at the moment for dead. And that would be the first time anyone's probably ever been able to say that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wonder why they're allowing that. I mean, because it's not as if they don't have the resources now to devote to other products, even if, it could be argued that something like the Mac isn't as important anymore. I mean, but the problem is that the truck is still important. It might not be for everyone, but the truck is still important, to use the Steve Jobs analogy. So not innovating in that space and keeping things current and whatnot is I think a bit of a problem for them.
Well, there's been no innovation, and scroll bars notwithstanding, what people want is just to hear that, we took some time to make a laptop that you like. And people don't like laptops with dongles. People want a laptop that essentially is a desktop that they can carry with them. Yeah. And I just think it's little things like that around design where, Apple maybe has tripped itself up.
Yeah.
I don't mind my laptop being a little bit chunkier if it's got all the ports.
Yeah.
Look, I understand where Apple's going, but they don't give you any option. In fact, they've taken away all the options.
Yeah.
You buy as is, and that's it. You're never upgrading again, which used to be one of the fantastic things about the old Apple laptops. If you wanted to tinker around or replace a battery yourself, you could. It's little stuff like that. When you only give me one port or two ports, great, I've got a slim, lightweight laptop, but, I can carry 500 grams more without my arms falling off.
Well, I mean,
it's not as if they're selling them so cheaply. They need to shave costs by using a little bit less material to make them.
Yeah, well, something as simple as removing the SD card slot, for instance, was a major thing for a lot of people.
Exactly.
Even if nothing else, if they were happy to put up with just the other ports being USB-C. So, but anyway, I guess it'll be interesting to see what they come up with, and we'll return to this maybe in another week or two's time, when after the event has occurred, and if they actually do announce anything interesting that could address some of these problems.
Well, the most interesting thing we've got here, Ben, is you, because what choice are you going to make? And I
Yes.
guess that's what we're all waiting to hear.
I might just stick with the old stuff. All righty, we might wrap it up there. Don't forget to check out our website, scitechculture.com. You can get all of our links and subscribe to our channels, etc. And hope you enjoy all the content there. So that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.